on Share the Stage. Welcome to Share the Stage. Wow, what a wonderful, wonderful day. It is an amazing day. I'm so excited to have our guest on today. Thank you for joining us today, Mrs. Hicks. Today, audience, we have a treat for you. We have Anita Hicks on Share the Stage. Anita is an amazing speaker, author. She has been on some of the most powerful stages, and she shares an amazing story of her why. So today on Share the Stage, Anita is going to bless us with a defining moments that have changed and shaped her life. So welcome, Anita Hicks, to Share the Stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chante. I am so excited. Thank you so much for having me. It is so good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Anita. You know, there's a lot going on in the world today, and I realize with so much happening, so many people are at point in their time in their life that they're not quite sure if they're going right or if they're going left, and I know that having a sense of clarity and purpose will help us stay on track. So today, since I know that your story is all about being your authentic self and discovering your why, Anita, can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and, you know, why should we even care?
That's a great question. That is a great question. So as you said, I am Anita Hicks. I am an executive coach. I am a trainer and a motivational speaker. Now, I didn't start out as a motivational speaker or a trainer or a coach, but as you said, I got a little clarity in my life because I ran into this person that a lot of you listening may know. His name was Les Brown. So I met Mr. Les Brown on television. I was watching television, and this is when he had his television show, and I heard this voice. And this voice, I was walking by, I was doing laundry, I was just doing a lot of things. And I heard this voice say, "You have greatness." And I stopped and listen, Chante, I don't know who else was listening on that television show, but I knew he was talking to me because there was a voice that spoke to me at that moment and said, "Anita, you have greatness." And for those of you that are listening right now, you have greatness as well. So when I heard that, Chante, I believed it. I believed that I had greatness, but also I knew that I was not living up to that greatness. I knew that there was something missing, but I could not figure out what it was. And so my journey began. And I started to step into my truth.
Wow. You know, it is amazing that you said that, just because I am very, very familiar with Mr. Les Brown as well, and some of the words that he has spoken in so many people's lives, including myself. And I understand when you say, hey, you heard that voice. There is something that is so powerful, and that is words. Words can change and shape a person's life, and it can either inspire you or they can actually retire you. So you cannot always listen to every voice that you hear, but those voices out there that are out to help lift and to inspire, we have to have our ear very close to that and take full action. So once you heard that voice and you got that message, how did you begin the process to say, okay, you know what, it's time for change? Because I often say this quote. It says, change either comes from one or two things, Anita. It comes from either inspiration or desperation. So
it was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of inspiration and it was a little desperation, but it was more inspiration. It was more inspiration. I love that quote. You know, there's another quote by Howard Thurman that says, there is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will all your life spend your days on the ends of strings that someone else pulls. And that's where I was. I was on the ends of strings and somebody else was pulling it. And I heard that voice. I heard that voice. So my journey began. So, I had to do all the things that I talk about: alignment, balance, clarity, dare. Those are the ABCs of living. I call the ABCs of living your authentic life. And we'll get into some of these. So the first thing I had to do was align myself with greatness. Because now I told you I believed I had greatness in me. And after that, I started my journey, and I was getting a little clarity, understanding that, I really needed to take my message to the masses. So I started telling my friends, I'm going to speak with Les Brown. I'm going to share the stage with Les Brown one day. I started telling all of these people, speaking these things, that I'm going to share the stage with Les Brown. Now, of course, they looked at me like I was crazy. They were like, yeah, right. Absolutely. So I had to stop sharing that with certain people. I had to step out and do the things that I needed to do. So I got on a plane and I went to Miami. I think it was Miami, Florida, and got on a plane. My best friend and we got on the plane and we went to an event that he and his daughter was having their owner. And it changed my life, Chante, because I met him. I sat in the training and I listened to all the things he said. And he chatted with me briefly afterwards. And he affirmed everything I knew and confirmed everything that I believed that I was to do. And that's when my journey began. I decided that I was going to align myself with greatness. And I began the journey, and it has changed my life, and I'm so thankful.
Well, you know what? I'm thankful too, Anita, because I've heard you speak, and you are an amazing speaker, and you are definitely gifted. And I believe that all of us, Anita, have a certain gift inside of us, because at the end of the day, God made each of us unique. And there is absolutely no one on earth like you. And I'm talking to you, to the audience. There's no one on earth like you. You see, we are all human beings with a huge combination. It's a crazy combination at times, but if these gifts are good and they can be given to the world. So as you were growing up, I know there's been some times in your life prior to you speaking. How did you even know that that was something you were supposed to do? What were you doing before then?
Well, when I grew up in North Carolina, small town USA, I just loved being around people. I always looked for opportunities. I was a cheerleader, and I knew that I wanted to encourage and motivate. So that really, really inspired me. And I started selling real estate after I got out of college and got married and started my family. And I knew that I wanted to do seminars and training. So I started doing seminars and training. Now, for those of you that are on that are listening, that are in real estate, I started spending more time on the training side of it. And I found that to be more exciting. And then I never forget, I was at a session with, I had a, okay, so here we go, Chante. So here's what happened. So we had a training, and the training was in Atlanta, and Les was hosting the training, and at the time I was attending it, and I had a closing that I was a deal that I was supposed to close. I was so excited about this deal, and those of you that are in real estate, sometimes they close and sometimes they don't. So the deal didn't close. So I got to the training, and I never forget, Les Brown came out and he said to me, he said, Anita, when are you truly going to start living your dreams and start living the life and doing what you are purposed to do? Now, Now real estate, I did really well in real estate, but I knew that I was on the end of my real estate journey. And so I listened to what he said, and he said, you should be in that training. You should not be dividing yourself between two. So if you are going to speak, if you're going to train, this is what you should do. You should focus on what you need to do. And focus is key. And that's what I wasn't doing. And that's why I wasn't getting the results that I needed in my real estate and in my speaking. So I made that leap. I made the leap, and I leaped and I grew wings.
Wow. Wow. You know, I can relate to that because, as you already know, I am a licensed real estate agent, and I've been doing it for many, many years. And I can relate to that story because I like training. I actually love teaching. That's why we have Share the Stage, so we can help other individuals find their passion so that they could fly, you know. And the thing that I realized that many of us we face is we have a sense of insecurity. For example, I've been insecure in many areas of my life, and still to this day I still find myself being insecure. And sometimes I deal with imposter syndrome. You know, I think that, hey, you know what, if this is not really for me, who's going to listen to me? Who wants to hear me speak? Who really cares about all the problems I have? So as a person who has a passion to share and to train, how do you help people overcome and work through their self-confidence? Because it's something that's ongoing for me. And that's why personal development is so important. So even as a real estate agent, you know, we deal with not being confident. And as a speaker, getting on stage, it's a lot of fear that you have to deal with. How do you help people overcome that?
So a lot of times when I'm working with my clients, I help them unpack what's really, really going on. And one of the biggest things, we all have to understand and know our why. Because there's a quote that says, when you know your why, when you know why you do what you do, even the toughest days become easier. So there's going to be challenging times, and there's going to be there's going to be difficulties along the way. So the first thing is you align yourself with people that are going to help you grow. You want to align yourself with those like-minded individuals. Now, once you've aligned yourself with them, you have to develop some balance. You have work, you may have children, you have other projects that you're working on. Now, I know that a lot of people are working a 9 to 5. They may have a real estate career. They want to jump into whatever they want to, but you have to balance that out. Now, yes, we do want to leap and grow wings, but we want to leap with a parachute. We want to have a plan. You want to leap with a plan. So you got to have a little bit of balance in there. You got to have a little bit of patience. And then you got to be very clear on what it is that you want to do. Clear and knowing your why. And so you're working through this process, and you got to commit to it. You got to commit to whatever comes along. You got to commit to doing it. You're going to have some challenges. And as you continue that process, you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it is a process. You have to continue the journey and know your why. When you know your why, it's going to get easier and easier and easier. So it's a process.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And it is a process that's ongoing. That's why I am so big when it comes to personal development, because it's an internal process, not necessarily always external. You're really working on your internal story, the voices that are going on, the doubt, and all the things that you're dealing with inside. So one thing that my mentor once told me, he said, never link your confidence with your abilities, connect to your intention. And it really made a lot of sense, because right now you have to be intentional on what you want. So finding your why is part of what's your intention. What is it that you want to accomplish with your life? And so many of us are still trying to figure out what it is that we were put here to do. Do you have a roadmap or some type of strategy on how to help people discover their purpose? You know, because we all say, find your purpose, find your purpose.
Know your why,
Know
all
your
of those
why.
things. Yeah.
It's easier said than done,
Yeah,
though.
then done. Absolutely. You got to do the work. You have to do the work. You said a key word, personal development. That's one of the things that I do. I do personal development and I do professional development. I help clients unpack where they are. And there's a process that you go through of finding your why. A lot of people have no idea. You're not going to look under a rock and say, you know what, that's my why. Or you might try to imitate somebody and say, they're doing it, so maybe I'll do it. Because there's another quote that says, all of us are born unique, but most of us will die copies. Now, see, Chante, I'm not trying to be like you, even though you're powerful and gifted, and you're not trying to be like me. So everyone out there, everyone, like you said earlier, you are created individually, and everyone has an authentic gift to bring to the world. And it goes back to, like you said, the intention. What is your intention? Are you just trying to make money? Are you just trying to imitate someone? So that's you have to really think through those things. So it starts with that personal development, coaching. If for those of you on the call, if you don't have a coach, get a coach. I am a coach. Chante, do you do coaching?
I do.
You do coaching?
Yes.
You do coaching? There's plenty of coaching. So you want to get a coach and you want to start the process and you want to unpack those things so you can figure out what is your why, what is your intention behind it. And then you're going to start aligning yourself, you're going to balance out, you're going to get clarity, and then you're going to commit to the process and your journey will begin. But it takes work. You got to do the work. You have to do the work.
And the work sometimes is quite challenging and it can be quite revealing. Let me say that. One thing that I discovered, Anita, is that, faith is a very big portion of doing the work. I'm a Christian, so I trust the Lord and I ask for guidance and I hope to get the right answers. But sometimes I got to ask questions that are and be truth with myself. Because when you say unpacking, some of that stuff I don't want to unpack, Anita.
That's
I want
right.
to keep inside. I don't want to bring it out. But you got to come to the point where you have to be willing to face the truth. I put a quote up recently. It said, well, I forgot what it said.
Go back and look at it. That's all right. I'm sure it was an excellent quote.
It was a good one, though. I know it was good. but it said something about you cannot change what you don't acknowledge.
True. Yes.
So if you don't acknowledge that you need work and things that you've been doing in your life is not working out, that's the first part of unpacking, because you might have to start making some different decisions so that you can get different results. So when you're helping people unpack, is that what you do? Is you ask, are you asking them to ask themselves certain questions to really make them think about certain areas of their life that they want to, change?
So as a certified and a licensed coach, there's a process. We learn to ask those what questions, because at the end of the day, we all have the answers. We know what the answers are. We may not want to deal with the answers, but as you continue to kind of search deep within your heart, you're going to really start getting to the core and the real root of what is really going on. What's gnawing at you? If you know that you need to be this, is it fear? And we've heard the acronym FEAR is false evidence appearing real. And that's what's behind a lot of individuals not stepping out in faith. God gave you a gift. And God don't make, I believe, I'm like you, I am a Christian. I believe that God don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
I believe he doesn't make mistakes. We just have to make sure that we align ourselves. So there are going to be difficult questions that you're going to have to answer, but you're going to have to start doing that inner work and searching deep within. And one of the things that I encourage is meditating and breathing and doing those things that allows you to sit still. I never forget my mom shared with me. My mom is 86 years old. I love my mom. If for those of you, some of you on my Facebook page, you see me posting a lot of my mom. I try to spend as much time with her and as I can. So I never forget when I was in my early years, my mom was like, "You're just like a little ant. You're just like a little ant. You're just over doing everything. You're just busy." So she taught me to learn how to be still. To be still. Sometimes we are so busy doing so many things, we don't take the time to be still and listen to that small voice that that Howard Thurman talked about in his quote. So I would not have been able to hear that voice of less unless I had started my journey and I had not quieted myself and said, "Okay, I need some answers. God, I need to hear from you." So we need to be still sometimes. And that still small voice, when you start doing the work, you're going to get those answers. You're going to understand what your intentions are. And if this is really your why, or is it somebody else's why?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right, because there's always other people's voices, and it's so busy, especially with social media and all these different distractions that are constantly coming at us. There has to be a point in our life where we have to think about what we're thinking about. And I'm working on that personally, trying to be more present. You know, I know that if there's certain things that I need to change, is being more present in the moment, because I'm what you call a future thinker. I think about future all the time. You know, where I'm headed. I don't try to focus on the past too much, but yet I know it's something that is there, but I'm not always present to be able to stay still enough to be able to analyze what's going on out here in the world. So I'm sure a lot of y'all listeners are probably just like me and Anita. You know, her mama said, you busy like a little ant, and that helped her stay still. And you know, sometimes we do need to just shut things off just so that we can be present, so that we can hear, you know, the voice that we need to hear to be able to make the changes that we need to change. Anita, I saw you speak at, well, I want to bring it back to a couple of things. One, you were actually hosting the Les Brown's conference, Monday Night Motivation Talk, and I believe you told me you were on there prior to us getting live over 5 years.
Yes.
When it comes to commitment, how important is that to keeping and building your confidence up? Because being able to commit to something long term builds confidence, because you're keeping promises to yourself, and as you learn to keep those promises, you tend to become more confident.
Absolutely.
Can you talk to the audience a little bit about, once you've discovered your why, committing to that and working through that even though there's going to be obstacles?
So commitment also builds confidence, but it also builds character. When you say you're going to do something, you should show up. Now, I had to make sure that every Monday night I was present. I was there. I sent out, you know, the notifications letting everybody know that the calls were, we were going to have the Monday night motivational calls. This was before a lot of this advanced technology, before Zoom and all of the things that we're doing right now. Yeah. So but you know, it was a lot, but it did so much for me. It made me feel empowered. So when you commit to something that is aligned with your why, you're going to feel complete, not necessarily complete, but you're going to feel that empowerment. So if you start doing things and it's a struggle to get there, to do that, then something is unbalanced. Remember I talked about the balance earlier? Yes. So something is a little bit off balance. So you want to look at those things and say, is this enlightening me, or is this sucking the light, the power out of me? So commitment is very key. You have to find those things that aligned with your intentions, your why, your purpose. And when they align, then it's going to be easier to commit. And then when things happen, I mean, we had technical difficulties, we had a whole bunch of things, but you know, you have fun. You enjoy the process, you enjoy the ride. You're like, hey, people, we're getting on right now, but you got a little problems going on, but just hang in there. We're going to get this party started in a minute. You got to be creative. In the beginning, God created. That's what the word says, right?
Yes.
So we got to learn how to create. And when you are walking in your why, when you're walking in your purpose and you're intentional about what you do, you're going to find a little fun in there. You're going to know how to just spring in there and just make it happen regardless, because you are committed. You are committed to the process.
Yeah, you're so right. And those of you who are watching who have started projects and you've had this process of starting and stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stopping, like me, I've done so many different things and I've stopped. And then I realized, well, you know what? It's okay to pause, but never stop. So I think I was pausing. You know, back in the day, we had those tape players where you can actually pause something. I mean, CDs are the same way. But you're so right, because there's going to be things that's going to come up that you're not expecting, and when you just let go of that and say, hey, it's out of my hands, let it be, it's going to work out, and get back going, and know that, hey, as long as you're in your intention and you're aligned, like Anita said, you're going to get to that finish line. Anita, you have really shared a lot of great things with us, and I'm so grateful that you are part of this speaking empire that the world is being able to enjoy. I want to ask you, as a youth, being able to, because you talked about your mom and how special she is and how many years she's been around, and the things that you've shared, and the beliefs that she installed in you. How important is those belief systems that we tend to take on as we're starting to discover our why? Because I grew up with 13 aunts and uncles, okay? And my dad was the oldest, and my mother, she was the only child, okay? So I didn't have any nephews, but as you already know, we take on and we model after the people that are closest to us. And sometimes, even though they are trying to protect us, they're telling us things that could actually hinder our belief system. It may cause us not to be able to jump out because we're living in that place of fear because of the fear that they've taken on. So as someone who's looking and searching for their why, trying to identify their truth, what do you say about that?
So Chante, we all went through the pandemic. We went through the pandemic where we were separated, some of us from family. I know I was in Maryland. My sons were in Atlanta. My immediate family was in North Carolina. Some of us lost people. And so there are people in our lives currently right now. If the pandemic did not do anything for us, it should have helped us understand how important family is. Yes. How important our loved ones are, how important those people that we really, really care about. One of the things that I started doing after the pandemic, when I go visit my mom, when I depart, I always get on my knees and I get her to put her hand on my forehead and give me a blessing. Oh, wow. She is the elder. She is the elder. I am the elder of my sons. So there are certain practices that you want to put in place that kind of those core values, those things that are really, really important to you. It's not always about work. It's not always about doing more and getting more, but you want to appreciate those times and those moments with the people that you really, really care about, because at the end of the day, we're not going to be able to take any of this with us. All we're going to have is memories, and I choose to have great memories. And so, you want to just really take time to, if you have family, even your coworkers, you want to embrace them, and you want to be able to, when people leave, when you leave their presence and they leave your presence, you want to leave a little piece of something there to say, you know what, she was there, she made an impact in my life. So just think about every day how you can really show up in a way that fulfills you and fulfills all those people around, other people around.
So true, so true. Because people are watching, they are listening, yes. and we definitely have to be a good representative, so that this way, at least if we're going to leave them something, let it be something that they can actually benefit from. And you talked about being in line with people, making sure your associations are vital, because again, not everybody's going to be cheering for you and saying, no. You know, hey, like you said, you told people, hey, I'm going to be speaking on the stage with Les Brown. And many of them said, hey, yeah, right, sure, sure you are. And then you may have talked to some others that said, hey, yeah, you are. So, yeah. And change comes from, like I said, either you're going to be discouraged or, disappointment, because people, they will disappoint you, or some people will actually cheer for you. So being in the right associations, as someone who's worked with Les Brown and other speakers, how important was that as you were developing your message and just your platform that you've created over the years?
So we had a lot of speaking opportunities. Dwight Pleasure, he's a good friend of mine. He was on your show, and we had a speakers network. Valerie Parker, who was over Les Brown's, she is the person who really does a lot of Les Brown's booking. So she would put these events together, and we would all be there, and it would really it's like iron sharpeneth iron. So you need to be in the presence of other people that are sharing your dreams, not necessarily your specific dreams, but sharing goals that you want to accomplish. You can relate to them, and they can relate to you, and they can encourage you, and they can really give you some honest feedback. When I started sharing my story, Live Your Authentic Life, I remember Dwight, he used to always call me, he says, Anita, I can really see your growth. You want people to give you honest feedback. Feedback is really, really important. When I do my training and development, I ask for feedback after my sessions, because I want honest feedback, because I want to help you. And so that's what we do. We help each other grow. We help each other stretch. You got to be able to stretch and grow. So it's really, really important to, one, get professional development, align yourself with people that are really going to give you honest feedback. You don't want those dream slayers, and you don't want people that are going to be yes people all the time. You want people to say, you know, this was truly helpful to me, because at the end of the day, you want to use your gift to make a difference. Wow. And if you're not making a difference, what's the purpose?
No, you hit it right on the nose. Feedback is so important, and not having that coach, because coaching is part of that feedback, it can actually hinder you if you don't have the right feedback. Because I've been in sales most of my life, and I know for a fact that at one point in time in my life, I was doing something that I thought was correct, but yet it was wrong. And what I mean by that, it may have been a presentation that I was giving where I thought on the surface it looked good, you know, but with someone else looking at it, they were like, oh no, you needed to do this, you should have done this, this right here would have helped you, and this right here is good for you. So coaching is so important. So those of you who have been watching, you do want someone that can look at what it is that you're doing and help develop the best in you by giving you that honest feedback. So don't take it as something that's negative. Look at it as a growth opportunity, because you got to have someone there to be able to give you that honest feedback. So as someone who coaches other people, how can people get in contact with you, Anita?
So the best way to get in touch with me is you can email me, Anita@AnitaHicks.com, or either you can go to my website, AnitaHicks.com. So I have some trainings. I have a training that's coming up that's going to be learning your why, your core values, And I also do some group coaching and one-on-one coaching. So that's an opportunity. And I'm also on LinkedIn, social media, all of the social media platforms, Facebook. But the best way is probably to email me, Anita@AnitaHicks.com.
Anita@AnitaHicks.com. If you can't remember that, then you got a problem. Not you got a problem. So make sure you email Anita if you need some help. Okay, that's important.
Yes. I really want to. I just really want to say that you are doing a great service for everyone that's listening. So when they can get an opportunity to, you share the stage, you allow so many people to share the stage with you that are bringing such great input, because there's enough out there for everyone. So I just want to say thank you for what you do and how you are empowering just the masses. It's phenomenal. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I'm hoping to continue to share the stage with individuals so that they could come out and touch, move, and inspire the masses as well. Because it's not about me. It's not about anything that I'm doing. I feel that everybody needs to be uplifted. Everybody needs to be inspired. And people need to know that, hey, if one can do it, they all have the power to do it. So thank you for saying yes today and being part of Share the Stage, Anita. And there's something else I want to ask you. If you could empower the audience with one thing, and it was the only thing that you can empower them with, what would it be that you would share?
So what I would share with those of you that are listening right now, I know that some of you have dreams, you have hopes, you have put things on the back burner. But here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want to remind you. I want to remind you to never, ever, ever give up on your dreams, because the world awaits your light, your authentic gift.
Wow. Wow. You know what? You're so right. And so many people have given up, and so many people are at a point in their life that they're just not sure it's either going to happen for them either right now or it may never happen. And I'm reminded of the words of Confucius, Anita, as well, who says that a man is good. No, a man has never experienced failure, but failure is something that he can overcome. And it's not permanent. And so many of us have taken and used our failures and say, hey, this is it. But it's not it, you guys. Don't give up on yourself. And it's time that you go ahead and press that reset button on your life, that reset button. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't matter how, hey, it don't have to be perfect, okay? Just do it. Do something. And that reset button is so important because it allows you to start again. So I thank you so much, Anita, for being part of Share the Stage today. And those of you who have joined us, thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that reset button. Make sure you share and you Share the Stage. And make sure you tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and join us and, be part of this conversation that we're having. Thanks again, Anita, for being part of Share the Stage.
Thank you so much.
And everybody, see you next week on Share the Stage. Be blessed. Bye now.
Bye.